Definitely
Oh,
got it.
record. Oh,
There it is.
there
Now
we
it just
go.
sent
Then
to
I had to
me.
hit it on
There
my
we
end
go.
again. All
We're
right.
doing it, kids. We're
Perfect.
doing it.
So, Kevin, thank you very much, and thank you for the compliment on the name Movie Hooker, by the way.
For kids, you missed it. We just had this whole conversation before we began where I was telling Gary, like, I couldn't wait to do this interview because I was fascinated by the title Movie Hooker. I was like, Movie Hooker. So as soon as I got in, I said, tell me, is it Movie Hooker? Like you're a hooker for movies? Like I'm a whore for movies, the Movie Hooker. And Gary goes, well, it could be, but that wasn't it. It's more about I hook people up with movies, which had never occurred to me that that's what Movie Hooker could be. But then, like a true American, I tried to convince him that my idea was the good idea. So I said, you need to rebrand as, Movie Hooker. I'm a whore for movies. Put that on every t-shirt and shit and stuff.
And I'm going to get you a t-shirt over, especially for you,
I
with that
said,
on it.
I said I demand to wet my beak a little, and I didn't want any money. I just wanted a t-shirt. But I tell you, this Movie Hooker thing could be so huge that I'll regret not getting a financial taste later on.
Definitely will cut you in that. But Kevin, thank you so much, dude, for talking with me. Big fan of all your work, man.
Thank you,
And
thank you.
I'm absolutely delighted that a Dogma is finally it's out there. You've got it back. How does that feel after all these fucking years, man?
It feels lovely. Now, to be fair, like it was never gone in my life. I could go watch it on YouTube all the time. They had a beautiful 4K version there, maybe 2K version for a while. Maybe it was 1K because it was back in the day. But they had a nice version you could watch on YouTube. So I could revisit it. And then like in my world, it never really went away. I can bring the characters or know the movies. Like Matt played Loki in a scene in Jay and Silent Bob reboot and stuff. And at my movie theater, I've showed Dogma before it got picked up. I could show Dogma and stuff. And there's an issue of my Quick Stops comic that comes out next week. It's called Requiem, and it's Jay and Silent Bob re-meet Metatron again for the first time in years. So for me, the movies never end. I always keep them alive because I interweave them and we reference the events. Jay and Silent Bob periodically remember we met God once and shit like that. But to see the outside world, the press, folks who haven't fucked with the movie in decades, be like, oh my God, Dogma's back means everything, man. Like I got to go escort the movie from April and May. We did a tour in the States. Like I hit 20 cities and 2 shows a night and got up and introed and Q&A'd each time and was fascinated by the diversity of the crowd. People my age, I'd ask in the beginning of every screening, how many people have seen Dogma before? And you'd hear like a lot of applause, the lion's share. Then I'd say, how many people have ever seen Dogma in a theater before? And then it would thin out more because a lot of people saw it on home video. Mm-hmm. Then I would say, how many people have never seen this movie before tonight? And there'd be like 5% clapping. I'd be like, why the fuck would you overpay to see this movie without having known what it is? But in the audience, it wasn't just a bunch of people who fucked with it and hadn't fucked with it. There's people my age who had their beards are gentrifying as the whites move in. It was people younger than me. It was people in their teens. Vast spectrum. Some of them have made the journey with me since I was a kid. Like I've been with you since Clerks. I took this girl to see Clerks, and now we got 6 kids together. It's your fault. And I've been, with people who are like, my grandmother used to watch this movie on home video with me at home, and she loved it, and she passed away, and that's why they're there. And then there are teenagers who are like, I'm here because I've been dragged here by a parent who loves these movies, and I've been forced to watch your movies my whole life. And I'm like, where are these parents? And they stand up and shit. But more importantly, I found 2 different audiences that blew my fucking mind. This movie, for whatever it is a child's prayer. It was written and directed by a kid who believed in everything you see up on that screen. This wasn't Christian mythology. This is what happened. I was raised Catholic from the moment I come out the chute, man. I had my father's faith, my mother's faith, and the faith of their mothers and fathers and stuff. Never once occurred to me that this was quote unquote Christian mythology. This shit just happened. So the guy who wrote and directed that movie, he was not, going like, fuck all this faith shit. If anything, he was like at the church, you know what I'm saying? The organization. But clearly that motherfucker believed in everything that is in that movie. So it blew my mind when I was on tour doing Q&A and I would hear from two very distinctly different audiences. One that I completely understood, an audience who was like, this is the movie that solidified my faith. This brought me closer to Jesus. I love this movie. You know, it's just dirty enough, but it really expresses my faith. I understand that because that's who I made the movie for. It was a recruitment film, if anything, for a kid who was losing his religion at that time. The audience I was not prepared to meet were the people largely in the Q&A this time around in 2025 who were like, this is the movie that started my break with religion. This is the movie that made me go, And I'm like, this movie? Like, this movie is a child's prayer. This movie is a profession of the faith, a defense of the faith. And yet it can work two completely different ways on audiences, man. Once again, it proves the art has almost nothing to do with the artist beyond the making of it. It only becomes art once it goes into the audience's hand. They're going to decide what it means to them, what the story means. And to see two very distinctly different takes on that movie was mind-bending.
So you're saying that, man. So maybe go back to like 1999, maybe 2000. Once the movie was getting released, you had a lot of like religious backlash because of it.
Oh yeah,
and like obviously just what you said there, I didn't even know that. So what you said there, this is a prayer. This is because of my faith in the movie. What was that like? Like it was like The Exorcist or something, you know?
It was wild. They treated the movie like I was with a company that was not afraid of publicity, free publicity. So they loved it. They're like, oh my God, fucking people are talking about this movie. We haven't spent a dime in marketing. My big concern, though, was as a guy who, made his profession of faith, that people were being ginned up for a different version of the movie that existed. The folks who were attacking it made it seem like Monty Python's Life of Brian, a movie I dearly love and loved as a kid. But let's be honest, that's a movie that just tears everything down. Like, that's not a movie that's like, hey, the church is stupid, but God is real. No, that's a movie don't believe in shit. It's other than trying to make you fucking laugh and see logic. So I thought they were getting people ready for that movie, which my movie was not. And I thought that would create a very pissed off audience who are like, yeah, man, let's come in and watch this movie that gives it to God and shit. And then it gives it to God in a very complimentary way. So that honestly, in those days, was this selfish idiot filmmaker's biggest concern until they put a brick through my front window right by the kids' room the day we were getting the kid baptized. Until we saw the 400,000 pieces of hate mail with 3 legitimate death threats. Until we weren't allowed to open our mail anymore. Until when we went to screen at Cannes and they installed metal detectors in the Palais for the first time. Like, all that shit made it like, hey man, like, you guys this is a completely different version of the movie than I made. Mm-hmm. So at that point, I realized it's more important to be concerned with the family. That's why, honestly, I never even thought of pursuing a Dogma sequel in all the years that have followed, because I had a kid. There's one thing to make Dogma, which I did before I had a family. I was just me by myself. But people who are told the movie is something that it's not are easily riled up. And as we've seen, they can become very violent. So for 2 decades, I never once thought with a growing kid, oh, maybe I'll tackle the subject of religion again. I did when I did Red State, but that was talking about a very small, eccentric church in the U.S., which now in retrospect seems to be more of the U.S. than I imagined at the time. But now that my kid's grown up and out of the house, and now that we got Dogma back to play with, like, that's what I've been working on as a follow-up. And now I can say shit about religion and not really worry about, I got a child. What if they come after the kid? They won't. They'll come after me. And I'm an old man. So even if they kill me, that might be cool. What a great way to go out. It's like, he was a more important filmmaker than y'all ever gave him credit for. He got killed for his art and shit. Believe me, I don't want that by any stretch of the imagination. I would rather live and die a coward. But I do feel like now at this stage in life, at age 55, I have a lot to say about faith. Mm-hmm. And can say it without worrying about the repercussions on the people I love.
And I think that's a very good point, man. And like, you know, there's a lot of stuff, as you say now, with like Red State, which is one of my favorite sort of cult movies, man.
Thank you. Me too. I love that flick.
I think it's really criminally underappreciated, I think, and it's something I would. So it's an awesome film. It's like a Dogma sequel with the radicalization, basically, of religion. There's so much more that can be done now with like Dogma, and how, you know, where like Jesus is meant for love, and that's exactly what these people are saying that they're doing, but that's the last thing that they're doing.
No, they practice a different kind of Christianity than I've ever known in my entire life. They weaponize Jesus, which is just the fucking height of irony, if you know that story. It's like, dude was not a weapon. He was not a stone thrown by God. He was there to love and bring people closer. Don't get me started.
Yeah, I just got a message. I have to ask you one question. I'm going to take it away from Dogma. I want to talk, which is another one of my personal favorites, man. Is there any chance of a Tusk sequel?
Yes, very strong chance. It won't be a standalone like Tusk 2. Like at one point I talk about making Tusks with the S would have been a $. But Moose Jaws is now the Tusk sequel.
Okay. Yes, that was part of the trilogy.
Justin's character comes back and you find out what happened after Tusk. So
after he left for the walrus?
Yes. Yes.
I'm here for it, man.
So he's our if in Moose Jaws, for those that don't know, is just Jaws, but with a moose instead of a shark. He becomes our Captain Quint character.
Okay, the Depp character.
So he is, he'll take Depp's place. He becomes more of our Captain Quint, having lived through an experience of his own. And it is one of my favorite things in the movie. There have been so many incarnations of Moose Jaws, but this one, the one that looks like we might make next year, is the backdoor Tusk sequel. And it allows Justin to re-explore his character in a different way post life as a walrus.
Yeah, that's great. Hey, Kevin, I can't thank you enough, man. This has been absolutely awesome. I could talk to you for hours about stuff.
Same. I could listen to that accent forever.
Oh, thank you very much. Hey, if you ever need any voiceover work,
done and done, man.
Moviehooker's your man.
Moviehooker, indeed, man. Fuck. Remember,
I am going to make you a T-shirt, by the way, and I'll be in touch with Annalise, and I will get it over to you.
Rebrand the whole website. I'm telling you, you got it.
Thanks so much, man, for talking with me, and Annalise, thanks for setting it up.
No, of course. Thank you for today, Gary.
Cheers. Bye,